Hello, everybody. My name is Ken Kent. I'm the founder of Signworld. Want to say hello to Rick Huck. Rick, thanks for joining us. Konstantin Perevatchik. Did I say it right? Mike Floyd, Kevin Wheeler, Tom S., Mark McAuliffe, and Corey Patrick. Thanks for joining us. And Russ McGregor, who just joined us just now. Our agenda is pretty simple. We're going to just, are we doing the slideshow, Jack? No, just
we'll do the slideshow a little bit later.
Okay, so we're going to open it up to questions. We have 4 Signworld owners on the call here on camera. We're going to have each one of them introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about what they do and their business and so on. And then we're going to open it up to questions. And when you ask a question, each one of the Signworld owners will answer your question one by one. You're going to get 4 answers to each question that you ask. So this is your chance. Whatever is your greatest concern, whatever is your greatest fear, turn that into a simple, open-ended question. And each one of the owners will answer from their perspective. Before we get started, Jack Werner, who is our president, Jack's going to give us a couple of quick definitions. Go ahead, Jack.
Morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Many times people confuse us with printers. Printers do the commodity items that are made on paper, the business cards, letterheads, envelopes, catalogs. It's an industry that's stagnant. It's an industry that's equipment heavy. And because of the internet, people can order online. It's become a commodity where margins have eroded. The sign industry is the opposite. While we're doing pictures, graphics, logos, and words like printers are, we're doing the custom production. As small as a postage stamp to the entire side of the building, different materials, different shapes, different sizes. But it's also that application afterwards. So people can find us on the internet, but you can't order it online. You can't order 100 vehicles to be wrapped online. So it's that customization that allows us to not only have a healthy business, a growing business, but good margin business. Even through COVID, we're busy. So signs is one of those industries that rides right through a bad economy. The other thing is Signworld is not a franchise. We realize everything else you're looking at is a franchise. We're not here to say us good and them bad, but we're different for a number of reasons. 2 biggest reasons: there's no rules and there's no royalties. You're also able to go after regional and national customers, so your territory is not confining to the neighborhood. In some industries, a franchise is appropriate. Dominated by big names, it's a cookie cutter approach. It's the rule book that's very critical, the supply line, but this is custom manufacturing to a small core of repeatable customers in an industry that is fragmented. So the name brand of a franchise is not relevant. The rule book is not critical because it's custom manufacturing. So we each operate under our own name, running more independently, and most Signworld owners will tell you they joined Signworld in large part because of that extra flexibility. Ken, why don't you go ahead and introduce the rest of the panel?
Okay, so let's start out. Mark Kipp, why don't you give us a wave and tell us all about yourself and your business?
Well, Mark Kipp and Kathy and I started this business. Actually, she's the majority owner, made it that way. We're trying to do some women business enterprise certification there. For those of you considering that, there may be some benefits. Located in the north side of Indianapolis. Signed up with Signworld about a year ago, took to about August to open the doors. And so we're still in the mode of learning and growing, but I have an excellent production manager who's got 30 years of experience. And we just hired a new person to learn the ropes.
Okay. Adam Sokoloff, what did you do before, Mark?
I was electrical engineer by training. I worked for semiconductor manufacturer doing technical support in the field.
Okay. Adam Sokoloff. Adam, give us a wave. Tell us all about yourself.
Hey, Ken. Adam Sokoloff, Sunrise Signs. opened my business in 2008. And so let's see, located in the Philadelphia metro market in Gloucester City, New Jersey. And did you want me to answer some of those other questions that were on the panel questions about the business? Okay. So we're in started in about 1,800 square foot facility. We're in a 3,000 square foot facility, and we're moving to, in another year, let's say about a 6,000 or 8,000 square foot facility. My background is in retail management.
Okay, thank you, Adam. Thanks for being with us today. And Chuck Schaefer, yep. Chuck, give us a wave. Tell us about your business.
Good afternoon, everybody. The name of our business is Schaefer Signworks. We're located also in Indianapolis. Mark and I being colleagues. We're kind of on the northwest corner. We pretty much, metro market is Indianapolis, surrounding suburbs, but we do some stuff all the way up in both in northern Indiana and a little bit. We've done some stuff down in Ohio and in Lexington, Kentucky. We've been in business. We're just completing our 4th full year. We'll end of this month, we'll be starting our 5th year in business. Our facility is about 2,500 square feet. We have another year and I don't know, a couple months left on the lease, and probably we'll move to find another 1,000 square feet and do little things different with our garages. We have 4 staff today plus myself. Production and a half person, a designer, a installer, and then a person works half time on sales with me. We just came off this past year at about $680,000, and I think our 2021 will grow. I think we'll get close to 8 if everything comes together. My background has been corporate America, where I was senior VP for Sharp Electronics for 18 years, run service for North and South America before Jack and Ken talked me into this endeavor. And then prior to that, I worked for Eastman Kodak for about 15 years, doing various service operation and management positions.
Okay, thank you, Chuck. Adam, back to you real quick. What's your 2021 sales goal?
Yeah, I also forgot. So we have 7 employees, and the 2021 sales goal is $1.2 million. $1.2
million. Okay. And Mark Kipp, yep. Back to you again. What is you've been open 5 months, 6 months?
Approaching 7. Yeah, early August we opened.
So what's your 2021 sales goal?
250,000.
Okay.
And then our space is 3,200 square feet.
Okay.
Got a good deal.
And Jack Werner, Jack, tell us about your business.
I joined Signworld back in 1995 in the dark ages when there was no internet, there was no digital printing. We were more of a retail banner shop. So Signworld model's changed a lot since then. I started in 1,100 square feet with 1 employee, ended up in 5,000 square feet, staff 11, doing about 1.3 million in sales. I then sold that operation, went into sort of a partnership arrangement with Ken to learn his end of the business. Finished buying him out 6.5 years ago and took over as president owner of Signworld. Ken has remained on in many roles and semi-retirement role for him, but still staying with us. When I answer questions today, if it goes to my experience running an operation, I'll speak from that perspective. If it more goes to training and policy, I'll answer from that perspective. Depending on the question, my answers might come from here or from here.
Okay. Well, let's get started. So Rick Huck, Rick, come off of mute and give us a question. Hello, Rick. Rick Huck, if you want to come off of mute, click on the little red microphone in the box where your name is. There you go. Go ahead, Rick.
Sorry about that. I'm connected to both on my PC as well as my phone. So I was clicking on the wrong one. So yes, for those of you who have not had the opportunity to meet, I am based in Canton, Georgia. And this is my second call I've participated in, and I really do appreciate everybody carving out some time to do this. It's enlightening to see, such a broad cross section of partners, those who are practically startup mode to those who have been in it a number of years. So it's great to see that, variety on a call like this. And so, question for Mark, you said you have 3,200 square feet. Did I understand that correctly?
Yes.
And so you feel like you needed that amount of space to start up, or you just got such a good deal you couldn't pass it up, or what was your thinking there?
Yeah, that was kind of it. I mean, I kind of wanted to get close to 3,000, but this space became available, and it's kind of working out. We have a pretty big garage, so we can take some longer vehicles in there, and it's got room for growth. There wasn't a lot in our city itself to pick from, and this one had a good rate and came with the size, so we took it.
And so I take it you're leasing. It's not an ownership situation on the real estate.
Correct.
Okay. And then Adam, you mentioned you're sitting at 1.2 million. That's after what, about 12 years, if I've done the math correctly. Is that right? And,
Yeah.
And I don't know if this question is just prying too much, but I'm really curious to know what the discretionary income is for that kind of sales level when you have 7 employees. Can you share that, or am I pressing my luck on that question?
Yeah, no, I know. I'm sure we'll get into net income, but we run about on average 25% net income.
Net to the owner.
That's correct.
Okay, that's good to know.
Rick, I think Jack Warner will validate this, but on average, most Signworld owners who are past their second year mark will be running somewhere near 25% net cash flow to the owner. Chuck Schaefer,
Okay.
your thoughts on that, Chuck? How many years you've been around now?
So we're just starting our 5th, and we're running right now. We ran last year at 20%. We're hoping to get to 22 this year with some more, efficiency gains. Volume starts to help also.
And Jack Warner, your thoughts?
In the beginning, lower revenue, you're going to have a little more contribution to fixed overhead. But once you get past that, most Signworld owners are in that 20 to 30%, most hovering in the 25%.
Okay. Constantine, come off of mute. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Konstantin Privoshikov. Everybody mispronounces his name, but it's fine. So my question is basically to everybody for starting period, if you still remember it. So if you forfeit your current income and go into a business with Signworld, how fast you start getting a profit to support your lifestyle? Let's say this way.
Okay, if I may, Constantine, I'll rephrase that question for you. We're used to getting this. So the question is, how many months in business before you took your first paycheck? And how long before you took enough paycheck that you were back to your normal living standard? Adam Sokoloff, how many months before you took your first paycheck?
Yeah, well, it's interesting for me. I opened right before the economic recession in 2008, 3 months before the stock market crash. We had gone cash flow positive in 90 days. Took my first paycheck in say it was like 6 or 7 months, but it took at least, because of what was going on then, at least 2 years plus to get back to where I was.
Okay, Chuck Schaefer, your thoughts?
So I think I'd answer similar to Adam's in the standpoint that we were cash flow positive on a month basis. I think it was about month 6 or 7. I can't remember which one. Starting out, and we've been pretty much cash flow positive ever since. In terms of taking it out, in terms of back to the standard living I was at before, keep in mind it's hard to compare because I had a very high level executive job. I was making stupid money. So, but we're doing well now with relative to where our style of living is and what we want to do at this point. So we're very comfortable with what we're doing, and we always see it getting better as we continue to grow the business.
Having said that, Chuck, and still being a young man, can you see the day where you'll exceed your corporate income?
Yeah, I think so. I think there'll be the day, and we're probably on the growth pattern we're on right now, we might be 4 or 5 years out.
But it's still doable. Still doable. Okay, Mark
Something
Kipp,
you and I
your
talked about
thoughts?
very early on, Ken.
Mark Kipp, your thoughts on income, break even, first paycheck? Go ahead.
No paycheck yet, not quite break even. We're getting close. Probably a couple more months before break even. And they said it's just hard to pick, lifestyle again. I mean, we've done well. We're fortunate we have not tapped into any retirement funds. So we're kind of going along with what we always have. We just haven't taken a vacation in a while. That's all. So
In that case, question, you didn't tap into anything. So do you have enough cash to live that period, or how do you live that period? Or your wife supports you while you're growing? What's your thoughts about that? Because let's say for me right now, I was the only one who providing the family. And now if I go into this business and then see check for a while, I have to sell my assets. What's your recommendation for this period?
Let me help you out here. Constantine, the only thing we could say to that is that you need to have $210,000 for the Signworld investment. And on top of that, you need to have enough savings to live for a year. Now, if you're using a 401k retirement plan, you can take out maybe 210,000 plus another 100 for 310,000 and use that extra 100 to live on until you start taking a decent paycheck.
Okay.
Mike Floyd, Mike, come off of mute.
Yes. Hi, Michael Floyd. Thank you guys for your time today. My question specifically, I guess, for Mark and Chuck, since you're in the same market, how is that working? How are you guys navigating that? Because I do have another Signworld owner in my city, so I'm just kind of curious to know how that works between you guys.
Chuck Schaefer, do you compete with each other?
So I would answer that this way. To the best of my knowledge, Mark and I have not competed on any jobs. The other thing, and I'll say, first of all, I'm very happy to have him here. I was here by myself for 4 years. To have him here, where now I have somebody that can back me up if I need to get to a printer, if I have a printer issue and things like that, it's huge. It's huge. It's also huge to have somebody you can share ideas with. I have no qualms about having Mark here. And I think it works well for us. I think he would hopefully say the same thing.
Okay. Mark, your thoughts?
Oh yeah, definitely. Chuck helped me out early on before my printer was up and running. We printed some stuff for a project there at his place, and then Chuck ran into an issue. He needed some ink, and it was going to be 2 days from Grimco, and he needed it right away. I had it. He dropped by, picked it up, and had Grimco drop ship the replacement to me. So yeah, we're helping each other out, and we're sharing ideas and thought, where we're running into issues, particularly with installers. So we're cross-pollinating our ideas and seeing how can we align and maybe share some resources.
Adam Sokoloff, last year or the year before, how many other Signworld owners did you work with on a project together? How many different owners?
30?
30?
Yeah, 30 across the country. Yeah.
Tell us more about.
Well, we have several franchises that we work with, and so they're located across the country, and so we'll produce the signage, or in this case vehicle wraps, and then we'll print them, design them and print them, and then ship them out. And we call them, can you handle this for us, the installation? And they do. It's great.
Do you compete with other Signworld owners in your area?
Locally, I have one in New Jersey in my market, in my southern part of the market here, we laugh because we talk to each other once a year. He's probably 20 minutes away. We talk to each other once a year. We always laugh that we should talk to each other more. If he ever has a problem, I have a problem, we help each other out, but otherwise, that's it.
Okay. Jack, your thoughts?
Bandwidth is your issue. You can only handle so many customers, so many projects. My closest Signworld to me was 4 miles away, right the other side of the freeway. But I was more interested in restaurant chains and retail chains. He was more interested in banks and schools. The guy next to him wanted apartment complex work. The guy next to him trade geographic. Too many niches in this business. You'll never compete with each other.
Okay. Tom S. Tom, come off of mute. Hello. Go ahead, Tom.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. And Jack, thank you very much for this invitation. I greatly appreciate it. So I guess my first question is, because it seems that Mark is the newest addition to the team. So I'm going to direct it at Mark. So Mark, how soon coming out of the gate did you have your first client, and what did that look like?
Mark, is it true that you had business before you even opened up? You had business before you even had your equipment. Go ahead.
Correct. And that was through BNI. And it was for a community golf outing. And that's where I had to go to Chuck's facility to do the print for the banners and the yard signs. But soon after that, I mean, once we opened, we had our first channel letter signed within a week. And that's just Kathy and her sales ability. So it's everyone's going to be a little bit different, but yeah, I mean, I know people in my mastermind group, yeah, they were taking orders on yard signs before they had a facility.
Chuck Schaefer, how about you? Did you have orders before you even opened up? And by the way, you moved. Tell us about that.
I moved from Chicago down here to Indianapolis, as y'all know. But we had orders before we opened up, and I reached out to a couple peers, and they made stuff. I remember one of them was a banner, a couple banners for a colleague that I knew down here. And I did some window graphics for a guy from Chicago that I knew.
Adam Sokoloff, worked before you opened?
First, I just want to say it's good to see Chuck. I haven't talked to him, I've seen him in a while, but just to see he's doing well. We had, I put it out to everybody I knew that we were opening a sign company. So then a friend of mine connected me with a credit union who needed initially some signs, but then we started working on all their vehicles, and they're still customers today.
Jack?
Our marketing plan is you're starting to market the business the day you sign a contract, trying to accomplish two things. One, have a book of customers that are willing to wait. The closer you get to opening, more willing they are. But having some product being done by others even before you open the doors.
Okay, Mark McAuliffe. Mark, come off mute.
Hey guys, thanks. So my question was more around, I guess, particularly for the guys that haven't been open for as long. What would you say is a typical week or percentage of your time split? Are you guys doing mostly trying to do business development and marketing, or is there a lot of like project managing the installation? What does that look like?
Mark Kipp, how you spending your time?
Well, as I said, with Kathy, thankfully, she's handling more of the sales, and of course, our new person too is assisting with calling people at chambers. So I'm actually spending more of my time working on the social, or not social, but the web development. We changed web developers and having to work on that behind the scenes stuff. Beyond that, I mean, as I said, I've got an excellent production manager. So it's just more of maintaining the relationships and dealing with these other issues that aren't dealing with the customers directly.
Let me interrupt for 1 second. Sheree, I have someone trying to log in that's asking for a passcode.
Okay, I think they have the wrong link, but let me send the link to you without a password. 1 second.
Fine, okay. Chuck Schaefer, your thoughts?
My encouragement would be to anybody is and I think Jack and Ken preach this very well. You need to be working on the business, not in the business. It's easier to get sucked into the business. I tried to do everything I could to keep myself out, looking for clients, looking for developing relationships, trying to build the business and trying to stay away from the in-house things that where you can. You will get pulled into it. It's a constant fight and constant battle. But that would be my take on it is get out there and get in front of things and get in front of clients, because you're gonna start learning what they're looking for.
Okay, Adam, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, jack of all trades, doing a little of everything, more so the sales, but getting involved in all aspects of the business. Now, I still do most of the sales development and marketing aspects, but I have an operations manager, and I'm working on the bigger picture for the business.
Okay, Jack, your thoughts?
That's exactly what they're all telling the right thing. In the beginning, you're more hands on deck, but as you start to build a team, you're more there to grow the business and let the staff take care of the production that you created. Over time, you're going to hire customer service people to handle the repeatable customers, and you're building business development.
Okay. And next up is Corey Patrick. Corey, come off of mute. Go ahead, Corey.
Yeah, I would just like, and I know this varies as well, and a lot of the questions that I asked have already been answered, but I'd love to hear what some of your alternatives were when you considered opening a sign business. What were some of the other things that you were considering? And why Signworld over another opportunity?
Mark Kipp.
I mean, I looked at other opportunities that were obviously franchise-based, but it never really gave them much thought, partially because of the royalties, but also this was the best one I was introduced to that tapped into my background of customer relationships. I mean, that's my strength, is creating those long-term customer relationships that are our own, that we develop, that we want to promote and how direction we want to go. And it just, the other ones, and it also tapped into more business to business type of opportunities. We didn't want to deal with just a straight consumer level.
Okay, Chuck Schaefer, what else did you look at?
Yeah, I looked at a couple other things. One, there was some stuff in the remodeling space that I was looking at pretty seriously until I was introduced to Signworld. I'll tell you what the attraction for Signworld for me, or this kind of industry a little bit was I've always wanted to have a small manufacturing operation. I've always wanted to build something from nothing again. I've done some of that in the corporate areas, but truly doing it with your own money is different. And the nice thing I liked about the manufacturing components and some of the assembly pieces that we do here in the sign business is that there's some technologies that are similar, but every build is different. And so to me, we're not making the same dang widget each and every time. And then lastly, I like the ability that I could, be flexible in what I wanted to do, where I wanted to do it, and how I wanted to do it. And kind of goes with my independence side, I guess, in terms of that versus like more of the franchise, let's call it, I don't want to say manual process, but that's just kind of my view.
And Adam, why'd you
I
do
would
this?
say after 20 years of retail, I didn't want a business that was going to be retail. I looked at several other franchises. In the end, I wanted something. I love the idea of no rules, have something local, close to homes, but have the ability to sell anywhere. And it's been a great fit.
Jack?
I made a list of 35 things that are important for me. Some were what my day involved, some was the economics, and some was my personal life. And everything else my coach showed me got bumped out for several reasons, and Signworld hit all 35 of them. So no rules and no royalties, a variety of everyday, repeatable customers, career employees. It just answered all the buckets.
Okay. Russ McGregor. Russ, come off of mute.
Hi, and
ahead.
thank you. Hello, everybody. Yeah, I was thinking about this. Has been some great questions, but I have a real open-ended one. And I'm additionally curious because you're at different stages. I want to know at this point in time with this business, what keeps you up at night?
Okay. Short answers, guys, short answers. Mark Kipp, 6, 7 months in business. What keeps you up?
My action item list in my brain.
Okay. Chuck Schaefer, what keeps you up at night?
People, finding the right people assets for your business.
Okay. And Adam Sokoloff, what keeps you up at night?
Fulfilling fulfilling the growth and just having enough people to fulfill the growth and having that team that's going to support it.
Jack Warner, what keeps you up at night?
You know, even from the beginning, I slept pretty good. I was in charge of my own business. I was busy from the beginning, but it's still managing people, managing the projects. But you're in charge of it. There's nobody telling you how you have to do it. So it's kind of rewarding to know that you're in charge of it.
Okay.
So it sounds like
John,
the employees and that doesn't evolve.
say that again, Russ.
It sounds like what you're saying, everybody's saying it's sort of about the employees and the hiring people and getting the right people. And that doesn't evolve as you get more experience and put some years under your belt. It's still about the people.
Yeah, I think that's what everybody said. I agree with you.
Yeah. Thank you.
John Bradley. John, come off of mute. Go ahead, John.
Good afternoon, folks. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Hear you fine.
Perfect.
Go ahead.
Thank you for giving up some time this afternoon to entertain our questions. Jack mentioned many folks find a niche. You know, some go to schools or some go to, credit unions. I'd be interested in finding out, well, Mark may not have found your niche yet. And for the others, how did you find that niche? How did that come about or evolve?
Adam Sokoloff, what is your niche? Vehicle graphics. What % of your overall business is vehicle graphics?
Fleet vehicle branding, 75% of our business.
And how did you get into that?
I personally liked it. I didn't, with so many avenues in this business, and we started with all of them. There were certain aspects that I just didn't want to get involved with bucket trucks and big lighted electrical signs. I know some guys love that. That's not my cup of tea. So we love the aspect of helping primarily home services contractors build their businesses, and that's been very good for us.
Okay. Chuck Schaefer, have you hit a niche? And if so, what? What % of your business?
So I would say that we're moving more towards a niche now of commercial vehicle graphics and vehicle wrapping, which will, I think, this year in 2021 will account, I think, for 35 or 40% of our business. Could be 45. We do have a big chunk of our business in exterior signage at about 28% last year, and then interior wall graphics and some other things kind of take up the balance. But we seem to be moving more towards vehicle graphics. But I don't think we'll ever be as much as Adam. I think Adam's got a nice sweet spot going.
All right. Mark Kipp, 7 months in business. Are you thinking about a niche?
I think I'm more open that I'm going to let the business kind of help me make that decision. There's a couple things, we've got the garage for the vehicle graphics, and then we seem to be running in a lot of channel letter business, and we're taking all we can get there. And then the only other thing is maybe, if I'm bid on an apartment complex thing where we can do the room signs and stuff, if that's the case, might get into more of the laser etching side of the business things. So we will see.
Jack Warner, 10 years in business. You started out as a generalist. At what point did you hit a niche?
You start realizing either by the type of customer, type of project, or by talents of your staff that there's certain customers and products that fit you better. From my background, I could speak the language with restaurants and retailers, and that became my niche. And because they were similar in their businesses, their needs were similar. So I made the types of signs that those types of customers use.
Okay.
75% of my business.
All right. Dan and Janina. Dan, come off mute. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, hi, folks. It's a pleasure to talk with everybody. So every time I think of a question, somebody asks it. But I think I have one. So in my conversations with Jack, and we've talked about the importance of, I think what concerns me the most is I've heard you all talk about how important it is to have the right people in place. And I think, going into a business that we've never done, finding that at least one resource, somebody who's a sign designer or specialist that understands the business a bit, finding that first person. How hard did you find that if you had to, maybe you had background already, but to find that one first person that really locked in and helped you learn this business?
Okay, first of all, Dan, Signworld Corporate, we will give you the ads to place and tell you where to place them. We will give you the questions to ask and the expected answers. We will go into a Zoom call like this and interview your top candidates for you. Okay. We will recommend that you send them down the street to work for another Signworld owner to evaluate them. And then once you hire them, they can go to all of our training programs. Part of which is we're sending a guy, a Hewlett Packard trained technician to your facility for 2 full days, one-on-one with you and your sign maker, your first employee. Mark Kipp, tell us how the hiring experience went for you.
I can certainly say before you hire the person, it's a very stressful moment. You're trying to do what you can. I think I, did Indeed. I may have also done Craigslist. You can't predict who's going to walk in the door. And then actually I had given an offer to someone else who turned it down. And then that turned out to be a positive thing, because then I ended up with Ali, who's a fantastic sign maker. That's all he wants. He used to own his own business, doesn't want to own anymore. He just wants to make signs, and he's great at it. So I'm fortunate. Kathy and I are fortunate we have him.
Chuck Schaefer, what was the process like for you in the beginning?
So I came across a guy early on and was interviewed by the Signworld team, and I would encourage people to take effort or take the opportunity to use that. Came with about 18 years experience and was very knowledgeable about the equipment and printing, and had some design experience. He did not stay with us more than, I think it was about 4 or 5 months. Honestly, because he couldn't stand the thought that we're starting a business, and he was worried we're going out of business tomorrow morning. But he had the talents to help us, and we learned a lot from him. And I've always been appreciative from him for that. But from there, you find people that want to work in the business. You find people, you look for attitude. I have a young lady that works for me now. She's been with me 3.5 years. She was a car detailer. We brought her in to degraph some products or some trucks for us. And she has learned how to do Illustrator. She runs all our production, and she does all our minor installations for us. She's amazing. And she has increased her salary by about 65% since she's been here.
Adam Sokolov, how many employees are you up to now?
7.
Go ahead. Start with number 1.
Number 1. Back then, we hired. Craigslist was big back then. We found our first sign maker via Craigslist, and she had about 3 years of sign experience previous to that, some graphic design experience. Worked with us a little over 3 years, and we decided it was a mutual. It would help our growth if she moved on, and she did, and she's doing well now somewhere else. It helped us. We got somebody else who's been with us since. And then nowadays we hire via mostly Indeed.
Okay. And Jack?
There's a workforce out there. There's a lot of help in helping you find them. It's a career for them. So you hire for the talent, and at least for the first one, and then from there you're hiring from character. We have Signworld who have the original employee from 20 years ago. So if you hire carefully and nurture, they're not leaving.
Okay. Janina, do you have a question, Janina?
Have it open?
Sorry,
I'm sorry. Yes, I was wondering about the funding for all the owners. What kind of funding did you actually use? I think somebody mentioned that they had not touched their pension to be able to open the business. So how did everybody go about funding for this business originally?
Okay, Mark Kipp, how did you fund your business?
We did finally eventually get an SBA loan, but from everything else, we had resources that,
Okay.
available.
Chuck Schaefer, how did you fund your business?
Personally funded it.
Say again?
Personally funded it.
Okay,
No
Adam
loan.
Sokoloff, how did you fund your business?
I funded mine through my 401k.
And Jack Werner, how did you fund your business?
I had other funds. I didn't have a 401. Probably 90% of people have a 401 have used that as a funding resource. We're still fully fundable through the SBA. We've got several SBA loans in process right now with new Signworld owners. So it's one of those two that are the normal.
When I started my sign business, I used my 401k plan. I believe that is the absolute best way to go. If you have enough money in your 401k plan, that is by far the best investment decision.
Did you take,
Kevin?
could I ask, did you take it as a loan or did you take it as a distribution?
Neither one. You're not taking a loan out. You don't have any payments to make. You don't take it as a distribution. You don't have any taxes to pay. Your pension plan, your 401k plan, just invests in the stock of your sign company as if your 401k plan would buy Apple computer stock. And 20 years later, when you sell the business, all the money goes back into your 401k plan. If you want more details on that, Dan, I would suggest you go back to your business coach who referred you to Signworld, and they can refer you to companies that do this day in and day out.
Yeah, I actually have something. Yeah, somebody's done that already. Good. Okay, thank you.
Kevin Wheeler, am I pronouncing it right? Kevin, come off mute.
It's Weiler, but it's close enough.
Weiler?
Not the first person to mispronounce it. All right, so, real quick, given the sheer number of other sign makers out there, small franchises, big commercial companies, how do you guys distinguish yourself, to get noticed through the noise?
Okay, Mark Kipp, how you doing? 7 months in business. How are you getting noticed through the noise?
Well, we'd like to be doing better, but as Kathy's great at just walking indoors. I'll say someone needs to be doing that right off the bat, just walking into establishments and saying, hey, we're new, we're here, just letting you know. And that's how we've got a lot of business. And then of course we're also doing the networking. I'm doing BNI. We joined several chambers. You got to do that. And then from there, for the longer term, you've got to build the web presence. But immediately, you're not going to have the web presence. You just got to be knocking on doors and saying hello to people.
Chuck Schaefer, what did you do to jumpstart your business?
So we're on internet campaigns. We see 4 or 5 leads a day, between form leads and phone calls. Very consistent. Some days as many as 8. 2 of those leads are usually garbage. The other 4 are worth working. It's done well for us.
So Chuck, how often do you go knocking on doors, as Mark Kipp said, cold calling? Do you do cold calling?
I actually brought somebody initially to do cold calling, and it was not worth our time. We don't knock on doors and cold call today at all.
Okay.
We might stop and see another business when we're in the area, but that's it.
Adam Sokoloff, do you go in the beginning knocking on doors?
No, we started right on that tipping point between internet and the other means of advertising. But in the beginning, the first 2 years was very much networking, getting out, networking meetings, business associations and whatnot. And then it became very internet heavy. Internet today, non-repeat new business, it's like 70-75% of what's coming in.
Okay, Chuck Schaefer, what percent of your new business, not your repeat business, what percent of your new business comes from your website, from the internet?
Oh, my new business, 100% of it comes from the website. We very rarely knock anything down. I mean, but our repeat business right now is about 48% to 50% of our business. We have a couple of large customers that we do a tremendous amount of volume with on a repetitive basis.
But all of your other new business is website internet. Mark Kipp, at what level are you 7 months in business? What percent of your new business, not your repeat business, comes from your website internet?
It's a tough one because it's just starting to change. In the last 2 weeks, we've gotten a lot more phone calls. So it's our web presence is finally starting to grab. So it's
Okay.
moving that direction.
And Jack Warner, your thoughts?
You know, most people are not anxious to go knocking on doors. So credit to those that are willing to do it and are able to do it. It's the networking in the beginning, and then by the end of the first year, 70–80% of your business should be coming to your website. If you want to avoid the networking, you throw some more money into the internet and do more pay-per-click ads. We have Signworlders that have never done any kind of networking, and they've done 100% through the internet. So you're relying on your skill set wherever you fit onto that, from totally internet to some networking to some relational sales. It's dependent on you and how you want to do that. We'll help you.
Okay.
Your plan.
All right. Once again, to my panel, we still have several people to go. I'm afraid we're going to run out of time. So the short answers, please. Lars, come off of mute, Lars, and first tell us how to pronounce your last name. Hello, Lars. Lars, come off of mute. The little red icon, the microphone icon, and the box with your name. Jesse, come off of mute.
Yes. Good afternoon.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Jesse.
I really don't have any questions right now. It's one of the gentlemen before mentioned that I had this list of questions, and you guys have pretty much answered. In addition, Jack sent me a bunch of web links of previous calls that you've had, so I'm good right now. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, Joe, come off of mute, Joe.
Yes,
Go ahead.
and yeah, thanks everyone for inviting me to the call. And many of my questions have been answered, but one of the common threads in this discussion I keep hearing is the importance of your number two. And looks like that person that you hire, you typically look for someone, it sounds like, with experience in the field. I was wondering what that person looks like and what would that person make or expect to make in earnings, your number two person, if that's the ops manager or whatever you call that person.
Wait a minute, I'm confused, Joe. Who's your number one person then?
I would imagine that would be the owner.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. So Adam Sokolov, your number one employee today.
Number one employee, yes.
Today, after 12 years in business.
Yeah, after 12 years, so that's 60 plus compensation, plus bonus compensation.
And the overall job duties.
I mean, operations manager. I mean, so he's responsible for pretty much everything but sales and marketing.
Okay, Chuck Schaefer, your number one person, how much in their general duties?
My number one person right now, which is running production and installations and a little bit of design, and she's making 48 right now plus bonuses.
Okay, and Mark Kipp?
45 for the production.
Okay.
He's probably a month, but not getting enough either. So, I mean, as we grow, he'll get more.
Okay. And Jack Warner, 10 years in business. At the end, you're number one and their responsibilities?
Number one was production manager. And again, that goes back 15, 16, 17 years. So the numbers are probably off from now. At that time, it was about a 50,000 a year.
Okay. Joe, go ahead with your question.
Yeah, and I just have one more question. So, and I think I know the answer, but if you're especially starting out, what would be your, say, top two priorities as you launch the business?
Mark Kipp, top two priorities?
Get the web going the right way. And yeah, so you got to fill either to the networking or knocking on doors. You got to fill that void until the web kicks in.
Okay. Chuck Schaefer, quickly.
My top two, I'm gonna say top three. One is volume, how to find business, bring business. Number two is your people. And number three is, I would tell you, you need to find time for yourself a little bit too. chill.
Okay. Adam?
Fill the sales funnel and then get the orders out the door.
Jack?
Before I answer, I'm going to start a couple of slideshows. We're late on starting it, but the first one just shows some of the facilities inside and out, so you can see what they look like. The second one shows what a sign is, so you can understand what we make, both in-house and subcontract. And the third slideshow goes to the Wall of Fame of some of the unique projects Signworld Owners have done. So this will play in the background. You know, it's building staff, it's building customers, and it's building processes to manage those projects so that the staff can take care of it because you've built processes, not because you've got your thumb on every project.
Right. Chad Sokowski, come off of mute, Chad. Hello, Chad. Jeff Chamberlain, Jeff, come off of mute.
Yeah, hi, thanks, Ken. I'm sorry, I missed the first half of the meeting, so my question could potentially be a repeat, but I'm wondering what you guys would consider the difference between success and failure. In other words, what's one thing, if you do it really well, you're really likely to succeed, but if you do it poorly, you're going to really struggle.
Adam Sokoloff, you want to start with that?
I mean, I think you have to, folks that I've seen have done really well in this business. They're going, they're running. It's a marathon, not a sprint. They're not getting bogged down in the business, and they're working on the business overall.
Okay, Chuck Schaefer.
I'm sorry, I missed the question. I got interrupted by something. Tell me again.
The question is, what's the difference between winning and losing in this business? What's the difference between being really successful and not being successful at all?
I would say it's literally servicing your customers. Very simple. Get it in and get it out on time. A lot of sign shops cannot do that.
The secret is on time, consistently, week after week, month after month. Mark Kipp, the difference between winning and losing.
And I would say communications as well. If you can communicate, you're going to set yourself apart from other people.
Okay, Jack Warner.
Most sign companies are owned by doers, not planners. So if you show up for the appointment on time, if you deliver the quote expeditiously, if you deliver the project as promised on time and as planned, you're worlds ahead of the competition. There's more business out there than you get to. It's your bandwidth to how much can I handle.
Okay. And I think I accidentally skipped over Mike. Mike, come off of mute, Mike. No last name. Hello, Mike. Did I miss anybody? If anybody has more questions, type them into the chat box in the bottom, or we have one question up. Okay, Rick Huck, you can go ahead and contact those guys on your own. Rick Huck wants to come and see Mark and Chuck. If Mark and Chuck, if you want to look at the chat, you might want to write down their number, his number. How do you share profits on projects where you don't have capacity? Adam Sokoloff, how do you share profits with other Signworld owners where you don't have the capacity?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to contact them and tell them about the project and ask what they would charge for, getting that job done, and make sure they're going to be taken care of. And then we make it, agree on it and go from there.
Okay.
Simple.
Chuck Schaefer, how do you share profit on projects?
I think Adam summarized it perfectly.
Okay. Mark Kipp?
I don't think I can add anything.
Okay. Jack Warner?
Because you have projects coming to you and projects going out from you, you'll learn real quickly what is a fair rate to either get or to give. And then you'll negotiate that with each Signworld owner. Some markets might be more higher price because of payroll costs or rent. Depends on how far they have to travel, how much time they have to put in the project, but you'll share and both still make nice monies on the projects.
Okay. Once again, if anybody has more questions, type them into the chat box at the bottom. What is the typical employee ramp up? How long before you had your second, third, and fourth employee? Adam?
Again, I mean, I think the second one was the third year, and then it feels like every year, year and a half from there for us.
Okay. Chuck
Adding
Schaefer,
those.
how long before you hired your second, third employee, Chuck?
I actually brought my second employee on to do business development 6 weeks after we opened. And then I can't remember exactly when I brought the third person, probably about a year and a half into the business.
And Mark Kipp, are you above one employee or just at one?
Yeah, we hired someone in January. It's kind of that discussion that came up. Do you hire before or after you have the need? In this particular case, when you only have one person, we just said we went out and wanted to be prepared just so we can have someone in training. For the next person, we may wait a little bit longer, but we had to do this just so we're not losing momentum if he couldn't be in on a particular week or day or something. So we need training.
Jack Warner, how long before you hired your second employee and so on?
2 months, 5 months, and 7 months.
Okay. Constantine, I'm not sure your question. How did you handle San Jose Airport wrapping? Who did that?
Yeah, I'm just asking this because Jack referred that San Jose Airport was wrapped by one of Signworld companies. So
Jack, do you want to explain that?
I
We
drove
had
there.
a Signworld operation in San Francisco that was minority-owned business, and they were able to get a contract with San Francisco Airport to do a lot of different projects at the airport. That was one of the largest.
No, I understand, but when I looked at that, it is not typical sign. It is metal mesh with small kind of balls attached to it to make a picture. So it's completely out of what you show on slides. And
We
so
have
on.
a
So-
we have a roster of manufacturers, Constantine, that can make all the unusual things for you that you cannot make in-house. So there's nothing that you're not able to service a customer with. The equipment we provide to begin with will produce about 75% of your revenue, and then you'll outsource the unusual products to this roster of manufacturers. So we have a supplier for virtually any type of sign project you could come up with.
So you mean that project was completely subcontracted, right?
Yes.
Okay. Done.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, Kevin wants to know, what was your biggest concern when joining Signworld and was it resolved? Adam, did you have a big concern when you joined us and was it resolved?
Yeah, I think it was just because there's so many areas of signage and trying to feel like I would have an understanding of at least enough of all of them or some of them to be able to get going. And the training took care of that. So that put that at ease.
Okay. Chuck?
I would say the same thing. One was just understanding the breadth of this industry and feeling kind of like you didn't know anything, but between your training and your contacts within the wonderful Signworld family, I mean, you're up to speed in 6 months. It's amazing all of a sudden you realize what you know, what you can talk about.
Mark Kipp?
Yeah, I'll ditto that in the sense that what I was concerned about back in June and July, it's not even on my radar screen anymore. And I will say the mastermind groups that all of us are, get assigned to, they're very helpful. That, people of your same age of ownership help each other out, and it just resolves a lot of issues.
Okay. Jack Warner, do you want to take the next question? What is the success rate of new owners with Signworld that have been in business in their first 3 years? Go ahead, Jack.
Well, we've been doing this for 33 years. We celebrated our 33rd anniversary a month ago. So beyond the 360 Signworld owners that are currently on our roster, we have many that have sold and retired. I have had 3 Signworld owners this week send me emails saying that they're ready to retire and selling their business. So of all those people, both current and that, we believe that we have better than a 90% success rate, less than a 10% failure rate. That tells you several things. One, the system is pretty good. It wouldn't be that high. Two, we've become pretty good on figuring out who is the right fit. It's not a wide open door for everybody. Three, it shows that we're not perfect. There's some people that joined us that we're better off being in the cubicle and having just one task to do. There are people that don't deliver the project on time, but the biggest challenge we have is being coachable, being willing to say, I need some help. There's more help in our system, both from the staff, but from the other 360 owners. You just got to ask for the help. It's there.
The second part of the question, in addition to the loss of your initial investment, is there a financial penalty from Signworld if a business is not successful? Jack, go ahead.
No. No. Once you pay the fees in the sign, you paid in for life. So I'm not sure what else they're asking there, Ken.
Yeah. Okay, we're past our time. We want to thank our panel. Adam, always nice to see you. Thanks
You
very
too.
much for joining us today. Chuck Schaefer, you as well. Always nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. And Mark Kipp, 7 months, off to a good start. Good to see you again, and thank you very much. Jack, you want to close it out?
I will. Thank you all for attending today. Hope this has been helpful. We'll have another webinar like this on Wednesday, March 31st, 3 weeks from today, different panel of owners. So even though the format is redundant, hearing different owners helps you confirm answers. We have a Discovery Day once a month. They're still by Zoom because we can't travel in group. We have one next week, Friday. If you're deep in the process, talk to Dan, Ken, or myself and find out if you're ready to attend that. It's not a decision day. There's no pressure. If you're not ready for the February 19th date, the next one, or March 19th date, the following one is Friday, April 16th. So let's work towards that. It's a big decision in life. We want you to do it judiciously and take all the time you need to talk to the people and learn what it's like. Go visit operations. It's a fun business. Have a great day, everybody.
And last but not least, Sheree, come off of mute, Sheree. Tell us, did you record today's event? And when will you post it to our website?
Yes, I record all of the webinars and they are always posted by the end of the day. So it will be posted by the end of today up on YouTube with a link. So if you're talking with Jack, Dan, or Ken, they can provide you the link, or you can go to signworld.org and it will be on the About Us page.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day,
everybody.
Bye.